Ladies and gentlemen, no matter who you are in this world, you can be the president, you can be the pope, you can be even Jesus himself, or even an AI who, if given the right circumstances, gives you the recipe to cook methamphetamine. One thing's for certain, you are not gonna escape appearing on South Park, which is why one of the most controversial online personalities of the past year, Andrew Tate, has been given a spotlight in the last episode of the 26th season of the show. The last episode is titled Spring Break, which is literally what the entire episode is about. Both the children and the teachers go on a spring break, which splits the storylines of the episodes into two. One of the storylines follows Mr. Garrison and his boyfriend Rick as they go on a vacation to Myrtle Beach in South Carolina, and the other one follows Stan and Randy all alone at home because Stan's mom and sister go on a vacation, and in their absence, Randy wants to spend time with Stan, partying and trying to lecture him about toxic masculinity. Now, out of these two storylines, the one that truly interests us in today's video is the second one. However, we will take a look at the one surrounding Mr. Garrison and his boyfriend first. Mr. Garrison bought tickets for himself and his boyfriend Rick so they could go and spend their spring break in South Carolina. While Mr. Garrison was excited that they could spend time away from their little mountain town, Rick was hesitant considering the fact that people down there quote-unquote rage, which threw him off at first. However, after some convincing from Mr. Garrison, Rick came around and agreed to go with him on the vacation. They have their daily programs all planned out, everything is going fine at first. However, they find themselves in front of a MAGA store, which stands for Make America Great Again, and Mr. Garrison finds himself face to face with his past, back when he was acting like Donald Trump. The people inside the store try to invite him in so he can rally once more. However, he is reluctant at first and declines the offer. The same night, however, he is unable to sleep and decides to go on a walk. During his walk, he finds himself in front of the store once again, and he decides to go in to look around at first, but is unable to control himself from rallying once again. The people cheer him on, of course, all of them wearing the typical MAGA hats that we all know by now, when suddenly Rick calls him and asks where did he go. He lies to him so he can continue rallying, and the next day we see him in a drunken state, missing his day completely with Rick, all because he wants to stay in and rest after a night of rallying. The same night, Rick decides to go out and look for his lover, and he finds him up at the MAGA convention, dressed up as Donald Trump once again, and leaves Mr. Garrison behind angrily. The next day, Mr. Garrison is feeling hangover, and after going to the restroom, he stops to rally a bit more with a supporter and gets caught by Rick yet again. Rick leaves him and decides to fly home as soon as possible. As Rick is sitting at the airport, Mr. Garrison gives a speech in front of a huge crowd, but as everyone is expecting him to talk about Mexicans or politics or say anything even remotely racist, he proves them wrong and apologizes to Rick on live TV. The next day he goes home, but Rick is already waiting for him at the door, and he decides to forgive Mr. Garrison for everything that he has done, and they go inside together, leaving everything that has happened behind them. For now. Now, it's one thing that we see Mr. Garrison and Rick's relationship in this storyline, however, it seems like we get a continuation to the presidential storyline, which might indicate that the South Park team is ready to explore it once again. Or at least in the near future. After all, in 2024, we're gonna have another presidential election, and it's a real possibility that Trump will run again, so maybe South Park is just preparing us for yet another series of Garrison Trump episodes. Moving on, let's take a look at the other storyline in the episode surrounding Stan and Randy. Since Sharon and Shelly have gone on a vacation for spring break, Randy wants to party his absolute ass off now that the women are away from the house and wants to spend some real boy time with his son. However, Stan is not so eager to this idea and instead wants to invite Tolkien over. Randy agrees, however, due to the fool that he is sometimes, he thinks that Stan and Tolkien's board game of 40k Warhammer is gonna be interesting and cool. However, that goes away quickly as Randy finds the game absolutely boring and just wants to party. He decides to invite some strippers over because he thinks that this is how boys should spend their time, and partying, chugging down beer or any form of alcohol, and just living life to the fullest like animals. This already indicates Randy's broken view on the world and his toxic thoughts about masculinity and what males should do in this world, which we'll see is going to be a key part of this episode since it serves as a take on toxic masculinity and satirizes this. The strippers are dressed up as cops, which oddly seems to be Randy's fetish in this episode alongside the other forms of fetishes he's been looking at, but when he tries to touch the strippers, a bald man shows up wearing shaded glasses, rocking a beard and occasionally smoking down on a cigar. Now, who could this mysterious person be? Care to take a guess? That's right. If your guess was Steve Harvey, you are absolutely correct. Nah, I'm just messing with you. It's obviously supposed to represent Andrew Tate. Randy shares his concerns with him about the boys and how he thinks that their fragile masculinity makes them play the board game, which obviously backfires and just shows us Randy's toxic view on masculinity. Andrew Tate Alonzo Finesky gathers up a bunch of his friends so that he, his friends, and Randy can have a party. As they keep partying, Randy gets into a ton of stupid shenanigans to the point where the paramedics need to be called out. Randy says that he's unable to walk, and we see his arm being broken and is put inside a sling, but since he thinks he's a male, he has to endure it, all because his son is playing with a board game and a few figurines, which he of course comments on once again, calling the figures dolls. The party has been going on for 3 days straight, and the police decide to show up at the Marsh residence. Randy mistakes the policewoman as a stripper, because of course he does, and after literally harassing her, he gets tased and has to ask Stan for his wallet and ID. The other police officer comes into the house, and upon seeing Andrew's character, he yells, "That's Alonzo Finesky, the Romanian sex trafficker," and the two of them get into a gunfight. Alonzo manages to injure the policewoman by shooting at her, and the other officer runs after him. However, we are unsure if he manages to catch him or not, but we don't see him anymore in the episode. After this, Randy is seen watching Mr. Garrison give the big speech about being sorry towards Rick, and afterwards has a change of heart and finally shows us his real inner self. He starts to get emotional, which eventually leads to him starting to cry, and as he's in this vulnerable state, he calls Sharon and asks her to please come home, finally proving to us that his tries at becoming super masculine was all a facade, and in reality he misses his wife and daughter so much so that they have to cut their trip short just so they can come home. When they come home, Randy is still crying and informs them that he is sorry for ruining their trip. Now let's take a look at the scene where the police officers go inside the Marsh's house. Unless you've been living under a rock for the past 3 months, it's meant to poke fun at the recent controversy surrounding Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan regarding their arrest in Romania due to the fact that they are under suspicion of organized crime and human trafficking. However, after 3 months in prison, they have been released under house arrest. In regular or South Park fashion, they really like to poke fun at things happening in our world, and they are incredibly fast at doing so. Almost everyone was expecting them to make an episode around, or at least mention, Andrew Tate and the controversy surrounding him, not just because it's something that almost everyone has commented on, but also because other episodes in season 26 have tackled various modern topics, such as the overuse of ChatGPT in our day-to-day lives, Kanye West, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and lastly the obsession with futuristic products. Nonetheless, the moment I heard that Andrew Tate actually responded to the South Park episode, I stopped in my tracks and thought to myself, oh boy, is he gonna take aim at the South Park crew and say something rude about them? Will he make another comment about his ego and masculinity? But surprisingly, no, none of these were the case. His response reads, "When I will be proven innocent, I look forward to help create the greatest South Park episode of all time." So, despite the fact that South Park straight up called him a sex trafficker, he doesn't intend to have any beef with them and is actually willing to help them create another episode in the future about him and his controversy, which is surprisingly one of, if not the most mature things that he has ever done. Of course, this doesn't instantly prove that he's innocent or should be followed, because I swear to God some of his fans are the dumbest motherfuckers on this planet, and they actually think that the fact that he appeared in the series shows that he's legendary and see this as a positive thing. Now, don't get me wrong, appearing in South Park is a huge deal and something that a person can only dream of ever happening, but like, come on, this wasn't supposed to show Andrew Tate in a good light whatsoever. Regardless of this just shows how caught up the South Park crew is with everything happening in our world. And to be honest, I really want to see an episode again with Alonzo Finesky, not because I love Tate or what he is doing, because to be honest with you, I don't think that anyone with an IQ over room temperature would like him or what he does, but because I want to see South Park poke fun at him in another episode again. The episode was the last of the 26th season, which is in my opinion quite sad. It was a really nice season, every episode was really enjoyable, of course in the ordinary South Park fashion, extremely common South Park W lads, but to see it go this soon breaks my heart a bit. The 6 episode format is not bad considering that we also got specials along the way, however now that we had 6 new and fresh episodes with fresh topics, it only felt like a tease and it just makes us want more of our beloved characters. Although it's true that in the last episode we didn't really see Kyle, Kenny, or hell we didn't even see Cartman, which is something new, but of course that doesn't mean that the episode was bad. I might start to rewatch the entirety of the show, cause first of all, why shouldn't I do it? And second, it's just an amazing show all throughout. Let's hope that we will get some specials very, very soon. But this is all the time we had today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like to see some more content from me, make sure to subscribe so you won't miss out on any new videos, and if you thought this video was nice, make sure to drop a like and a comment below. Until next time, I wish everyone a wonderful evening. Bye bye.